This is Stronger Than My Father with Marcus Menace.
Welcome to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast. I am your host, Marcus Menace Sr. This podcast, is designed to help families and also bring awareness to fatherhood with the hope of one day breaking the fatherless cycle. Hey, you guys, I can't do this podcast by myself, so I have to thank my good friend, Mr. Jim McCarthy at jmvos.com. So if you're in need of a podcast producer or someone to do some voiceover work, I encourage you to call my friend at jimmccarthy.com. Did I say it right, Jim? Oh, jmvos, all right, .com. Hey, you guys, this is my 50th episode, so I wanted to do another solo podcast by myself. Just sitting here all thanking God that He allowed me to get to 50 episodes. And I look forward to the next 50 and more episodes, bringing awareness of fatherhood and just interviewing great guests. And I hope one day you can be on our show. So at the end, we'll give some information on how to get on the show and reach out to me and let's talk about fatherhood. I want to, first of all, as I prepare for my topic, is to thank every supporter of this podcast, those who donated, those who sponsored, those who are on my social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, even TikTok. Thank you guys so much for sharing and spreading my podcast, letting people know that we exist, let people know that we are here to fight for fatherhood and bring awareness to fatherhood because the statistics and everything is so great. So I want to thank you guys so much. And those who are listening to me for the first time, please follow us on all our social media platforms. Just look for Stronger Than My Father and we're going to pop up. So I really, really need your support going into 2024 to let people know that there is a podcast that brings awareness to fatherhood. And we definitely need your support in 2024. So let's go to work. I'm currently working on something which I'm not going to divulge a lot, but it's one of my first books that I'm looking to release next year, and it's encouraging dads to make great decisions. And it's so important as we prepare for 2024. Dads, step up and make great decisions because your decisions affect your children, married or single dads. Your decisions affect your children. I'm a mentor. I've been mentoring for 20 years. And when I talk to these young men and when parents, single moms call me and say, hey, can you be a mentor to my son? A lot of these boys come to me with so much baggage because they're upset, they're mad, and they're saying, where's my dad? Why doesn't my dad want me? And for me as a mentor, I was blessed. And the quote unquote word, I was sheltered growing up. I had two great parents that did not allow me to see a lot of bad things growing up in this world until I became an adult, got older, and I started seeing the world for where we're at. But when I talk to these young men, the first thing I ask them is, why are you mad? And they tell me my father's not there. And for me as a mentor, I have to try to fill in that role as a dad and try to show the love and help them. But I really, really want dads to think before when you're making choices and decisions, are you thinking about your kid? Now, I'm a father of two boys and been married for 22 years. I'm married for 22 years. And as a dad, my decision affects my wife. It affects my two children. So every day I have to try my best to make great decisions. Do I make all great decisions? No. I've made bad financial decisions. I've made probably bad decisions as a father, but I'm always trying to grow and improve myself. So I'm not coming on this podcast as a perfect father because I'm not. I never dealt with infidelity and those issues because infidelity really destroys the family. And I've seen it firsthand. Now, if I'm tempted, yeah, I see women all the time. I'm tempted to mess up all the time. But if I sleep with another woman and I'm a married father, what's going to happen to my children? What happens generational for my kids? It could destroy them. It could lead them in a bad path. So when I'm mentoring these young men and these moms are telling me these stories, and I'm saying to myself, well, where's the dad? Won't the dad step up? Even if you don't get along with the baby mom, you need to find a way to be there for your kid, because your kid needs you. And I'm looking at you, Dad. Your kids need you. They need your love because they're hurting. And so as a mentor, I try to fill in that gap the best way I can. I've been successful with some men, some young men, and some young men I have not. I didn't reach them in time and they decided to go another way. But I'm always here as a friend, as a coach, to try to help young men make great decisions, because now when you see on television, the crime that's went up. Every time I see kids carjacking, every time I see kids want to rob somebody, who taught them that? A good father doesn't teach a child how to rob and kill and steal. No good dad does that. And when you don't have the dad in the home, these are the things that's coming into these kids' lives. Bad habits, bad grades. That's what happened when a dad's not in the home. And I challenge you, leave comments on this YouTube from this podcast. I would love to hear it. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But when dads are not there leading the family and single moms has to do the work, this is what we're producing. Now, there are some single moms that keep their boys in line. And I applaud you, single moms. You keep your boys in line. And I know some good, tough mamas. But they still tell me they still need my kid to learn from a male. So, men, I encourage you, number one, if you're going through different issues in your life, I always encourage you to seek therapy. Seek someone that can help you, because once you lay in the bed and you produce a child, somebody's going to raise it. Either the world's going to raise it or you're going to raise your child. But then that's where we have this big problem at. And so I want to applaud you for that. And one thing, I want to applaud single moms, and I hope I don't offend no single moms. Make great decisions who you lay in the bed with. Make great decisions who you lay in the bed with. Because when you lay in the bed, are you thinking about, I have to pay for daycare? Do you think about, I may get pregnant? And who's going to take care of the child? When I look on social media and I see moms begging for somebody to help them with their child, I just always say, where's the dad? Where's the dad who was supposed to step up and help that single mom, help that mom take care of the child? That's what God requires. And yeah, I was blessed with a dad who showed me the way. And I'm out here trying to help bring awareness and teach, because this is the problem that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of churches ain't talking about this. They ain't talking about the fatherless. We talking about miracles, healings, blessings, prophesying. That's all we do now. The black family, and there's other family, white families, other family, but me as a black male, I see a lot of black families struggling because dad's not there. And so until men step up, we're going to continue to have what I call the world's greatest pandemic. It's the fatherless. When there are over 18 million kids growing up without a dad, over 18 million, that's 1 out of 4 have a father in the home. This is one of the biggest problems that we have out here. So what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? So I know as we prepare for 2024, and this episode will probably come out a couple of weeks after the new year. But as we preparing for 2024, I see these vision boards and this board, that board, this board. What about the board for the fatherless? When men going to have a vision board and say, look, as a man, I want to do better and take care of my child. Take care of your children. That's what we need more than anything, is for men to step up and take care of their children, because your kids are hurting. And when they're hurting, we got gangs that's waiting on them, teaching them how to do bad things, robbing, stealing. We had a clip that went viral this year talking about why young men are breaking into cars and robbing people. It's because they want the quick money. But where is the dad that told them that? Who told them to do that? So it's important for all of us to do our part to help with this pandemic. And I hope I'm not offending nobody or come across being offensive. But for me as a mentor for 20 years, this is what I see. I've went to several schools trying to see my boys, make sure they're doing okay. And if they had their father, I wouldn't have to be a mentor. If Morris dad stepped up, I wouldn't have to do this. I mean, I want to be a normal person and just raise my 2 boys the way my father trained me. But God called me to help the fatherless, help these kids. And I've been helping kids for 20 years the best way I can. and to show love and to be there for my boys the best way I can. And that's why we're still pushing our Moms with Purpose program for the moms to have an outlet, somebody to talk to. So when they frustrated, they have someone to talk to. So it's so important now more than ever that mentors are needed, stepping up and trying to help these boys have a good role model in their lives. And that's what I'm trying to do here, Stronger Than My Father, is serve the fatherless and make sure boys can be productive. They don't have to go to juvenile. They do not have to go to juvie or jail. They can go to college, gain a life skill, but it takes people to come in these boys' lives and show them a different path. And that's what I'm hoping to continue to do in 2024, is to help young men have the opportunity to be productive, so I can see them walk across the stage and get their degree and be productive, not going to jail. And I've only made one jail visit, and it's tough. I don't like making jail visits, so I really don't want to do it because I've never been to jail. So I know a lot of people will comment. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm sheltered, or Mark is this and Mark is that. Say what you want, but I'm the one out here fighting for these young men. I've been shot at doing this. And the young man, he was on my podcast earlier last year, and we talked about that. But the biggest thing we have now is fathers being absent in the home, fathers making bad decisions. We're not thinking about the child. And I will say this, I see a lot of men dressed up sharp. And one thing my father told me is, Mark, if you dressed up and you got nice shoes, your kids better have nice shoes. So before I buy me a pair of Air Force Ones or Cole Haan shoes that I really like wearing, I always ask my wife, my boys are good. They got everything they need, because I'm not going to make sure I'm good and my kids lack. That's a bad father. That's a bad decision. So as I keep coming to this conclusion, I'm just encouraging dads to make great decisions. Make great decisions so your child does not suffer. No one wants a child to suffer. These school teachers are working hard trying to do a dad's job, trying to do a mom's job, because sometimes parents aren't doing their job. You're not doing your job, and making sure your kids are first. Before you go out to a club, are your kids taken care of? And one thing I will tell parents is that when you become a parent, you are second. You are second. You're not first. My kids come first before me. I make sure my kids eat before me, because that's what a father's supposed to do. You put your kids first, not second or whatever. And so this is tough teaching. You may like it. You may not like it. You can hit subscribe. You can kick it down. I don't care. But I'm going to speak my truth on my 50th episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast, is letting people know that when fathers don't step up, this is what we are creating. We're creating chaos here in America, and we are creating chaos in these schools, because there's no tough dads that put tough love in these kids. And I am thankful that I don't have to go to my kids' school to discipline them, because they get disciplined at home. I tell them what they're supposed to do, and they go to school and they do it because dad said it. And that's the way I was raised. And that's the way I'm trying to teach, hopefully, dads in 2024 to make great decisions, because every decision you make comes with the consequences, good or bad. Every decision. I tell kids when I'm in school that I drive a Dodge Charger, which is a pretty fast car. And I tell them that when I get in that car, sometimes I want to speed and hit it up to about 80, 90, sometimes 100 and race people. That's a decision that I make. But what's the potential consequences? Having a wreck, dying, getting a ticket, or go to jail. These are my consequences when I decide I want to hit it over 100. So as a dad, every day I wake up, I ask God to help me make great decisions. That's what I encourage you dads to do. Every day when you wake up, get on your knees, ask God to help me make great decisions so my kids and my family will not be affected by me making bad choices. And I will say, we all human. We all human. We're going to make mistakes. We all are. I'm human. I've made 100 mistakes. I've made plenty of them. But I try my best every day to make great decisions. On my phone, I have a picture of my two sons on my phone. One of my old supervisor, God rest his soul, Mr. Dale Pace, told me, before you make a bad choice, you click on your phone and you look at your children and you ask yourself, shall I make that decision? Because it's going to affect your children. It affects their conduct, their attitude, boys, and it affects girls. And single moms, I just encourage you, fight for your children. And you have to make great decisions. You have to make great decisions, because if you don't, it's going to affect your child. And I hate that we live in a world where fathers won't step up. We'll be man enough to lay in the bed, but we're not man enough to take care of our kids. That's the problem. So I thank you guys so much for listening to me. I hope I didn't say anything to offend people. If I did, I'm sorry. This is just my truth, because this is the work I do. I do this work every day, trying to help these boys, driving to schools, sitting there with principals, talking to moms, talking to boys, trying to help them. Because some of these boys got very, very bad issues. They have issues because they mad daddy's not there, or daddy's smoking weed, and daddy's doing drugs, and daddy's coming home drunk. All these decisions lead to the consequences that we see here now. So every time you look at the news and you see a young man under 18 that's going to jail, ask yourself, where is his daddy? Where is his daddy? Is his daddy around to lead him, or is his daddy thinking about himself? So thank you guys for listening. I will be doing more single podcasts going into 2024, but I thank God for this 50th episode. Thank you to my good friend Jim McCarthy, who pushed me and told me, hey, you can do this. And thank God for him. And I look forward to continue doing more podcasts, single podcasts. And if you got good topics, hey, DM me on all my social media. I would love to have good topics. We're going to do some virtual podcasts going into 2024. So people who's not in Nashville want to get on here. Let's talk about fatherhood. Let's go. I love debating. I love talking. So these are the issues I see. I'm hoping that 2024 will be a better year for all of us as fathers, because being a father is a hard job. So thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on all of them. And listen to these episodes, and I hope it helps you. And remember, I'm not trying to offend. This is what I see on a regular basis, being a mentor. And I just want to help fathers and help kids become better. I thank God for my father, Paul Nee Sr., who raised me to be the best man I could be. And I'm thankful for my mom as well. They've been married 52 years, and I'm thankful for them. And I'm thankful that the work I'm doing is making them proud. So God bless you. Continue to follow us at Strong in My Father podcast as we build and try to help break the fatherhood one son at a time. God bless you.